Hello, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. I hope you're well. Thank you very much for being here. I'm Jen with Timeline Tarot, and this is your timeless message from your future self. And the reason why it is timeless is because this message is relevant to you whenever you find this video and choose to watch it. It is a collective general reading, so as the messages come through today, just take what fits and leave what doesn't, because if it's not your message, it means it is meant for someone else. And of course, check out your other placements. If you don't know what they are, in the description box is a link where you can obtain your free birth chart. With all of that said, let's begin. Tapping into the Gemini collective now for Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements. What is the message from Gemini's future self? What would Gemini's future self like to tell them at the time they view this reading? One more shuffle here. Thank you. You have Curiosity, card number 11. And at the bottom of the deck, you have Warning, card number 52. So I'm going to read from the Urban Crow Oracle book here to give you the meanings of these cards, and then we'll dive into tarot to explore the message further. Curiosity. An open door is an open invitation for this brave crow. Now is an excellent time to consider what treasures you will find when you are brave enough to explore. Curiosity asks that you open doors, look inside, and analyze the situation. This is a time to dig in and do your research. Curiosity indicates that you are just scratching the surface. The possibilities are vaster that you are currently seeing. However, you need to get inquisitive. When you start asking questions, a path will unfold. When curiosity appears, you will be better served by putting aside your emotions and thinking like a researcher. Card number 52, Warning. This card was created during the height of the smoke from the eastern Washington wildfires that infiltrated the city. Crows have scouts that sit high up over all the action to serve as a lookout. It is their job to spot the signs and warn others of danger. Warning indicates the signs are all around you. Something less than favorable is approaching, and your attention is needed to ensure that you have time to react. Warning brings to your awareness the red flags that you may be missing or denying, putting you in a less than desirable situation. From the employer who always pays a day or two late to the partner who never seems to want to be seen together out in public, too often we make excuses in an attempt to dismiss the warning so as to avoid accepting the reality. Warning signs appear throughout various scenarios in our lives. Sometimes it takes a friend or someone on the outside, or your future self, to point out what we don't want to acknowledge. When this card appears in a reading, consider the signs that you have received. Do they shed light on a situation that you may have been avoiding? Okay, so there's something here in the Gemini collective that you do not want to see about a particular situation, environment, or connection. And your future self is telling you it's time to get curious and do a little research and do a little digging. Let's get into tarot now. For Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements, please clarify this message from their future self. We are clarifying card number 11, Curiosity, and card number 52, Warning. One more shuffle here. Thank you. We have the Ace of Wands, we have the Knight of Wands, and we have the Four of Cups. In the bottom row, you have the Six of Wands, you have the Nine of Swords, and you have the Wheel of Fortune. Excuse me. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Ten of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Wands, and you have the Three of Pentacles. That leaves the Page of Swords. There's your curiosity there. Three of Wands and the King of Wands here to the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Notice how when the Page of Swords card fell out, it turned upside down. There's something here that you're not seeing, or you have been reluctant to see, or perhaps you're just not asking the right questions. Let's clarify this now using the After Tarot deck. The images in this deck are different, and so are the meanings of the cards, and we'll go through them as necessary. And of course, we'll clarify even further if we need to. For the Gemini collective now, Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as Venus placements, please clarify this further, this message from their future self. We are clarifying Ace of Wands, Knight of Wands, Four of Cups, Six of Wands, Nine of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Ace of Wands is being clarified by the Four of Swords. The Knight of Wands is clarified by the Moon. The Four of Cups is clarified by the Nine of Pentacles. The Six of Wands is clarified by the Six of Wands. The Nine of Swords is clarified by the Knight of Wands. And the Wheel of Fortune is clarified by the Hierophant. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Star. You have the Nine of Cups, and you have the Queen of Pentacles. And that leaves the Nine of Wands, the Fool, and the Seven of Pentacles, the Three of Cups here at the bottom of the deck. There's something here that you're refusing to see about a particular situation, environment, or connection. If this message is resonating for you, your mind races with thoughts about this situation, environment, or connection. It tries to parse through the data. It tries to discern what's the red flag, what's the green flag, what am I missing? Am I overthinking this situation? Am I misjudging this individual? I feel like these are lots of racy thoughts. Not all the time, but particularly when it comes to this one situation, environment, or connection. Because with the Knight of Wands to the Moon, you feel intuitively that something is being kept from you, or at least you suspect it is. And that's why your mind is racing. Ace of Wands to the Four of Swords. I feel like you're sitting on this. You don't want to ask questions. You don't want to have the conversation. You don't want to do any dirt digging. It's almost like I'm going to pretend to sleep, because if I knew the truth, I would then have to take action. Ace of Wands. And I'm not sure if I want to take action. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm not seeing it and that all is well. Four of Cups to the Nine of Pentacles. Again, this is refusing to see the truth. Nine of Pentacles. I'm just going to take care of myself, focus on myself, me, myself, and I here. I don't want to see what is happening within the situation, environment, or connection, and I don't want to ask any questions. Six of Wands to the Six of Wands is so interesting. There is one person here who does know the truth. In this Six of Wands card, you're here on your own. And in this Six of Wands card, you're here with someone else. This person can give you knowledge. So there's someone here that if you were to have a conversation with them, and it could be this exact person that you've been up in your head about, you would get all the answers you need. But you've been reluctant to have the conversation with this person. Wheel of Fortune to the Hierophant. If you don't have this conversation, if you don't acquire this data or this information, the wheel is going to spin and it's going to stay exactly where it is, because the Hierophant is Taurus energy, and this feels like very stubborn energy. So if you're not willing to look into whatever this is, like I said, get the data, get the facts, get the information, then when the wheel spins, you're stuck in the same cycle. Ten of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, and the Three of Pentacles, the Star, the Nine of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. Let's see where we go with this message. Clarify the Ace of Wands here. What's interesting is you are an air sign. You're ruled by the sword suit. And the only sword card on the table at this time is the Nine of Swords, where you're up in your head, and the Four of Swords, because there's something here that you really don't want to see or think about. Clarify that Ace of Wands. Thank you. It's a lot, but we'll take it. Actually, it's exactly 3. The Ace of Wands is clarified by the Fool, the Two of Pentacles, and the King of Cups. If you knew this truth, you would move in a particular direction. Okay. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Cups, King to the Queen of Cups. If you knew this truth, you would move in a particular direction. Clarify that Four of Swords. Clarify the Four of Swords here. One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Four of Swords is clarified by the Five of Cups, the Seven of Cups, and the Four of Cups. Bottom of the deck, Two of Wands. This is a very specific message. You have someone in your life who's keeping something from you. And your future self is trying to tell you, knock, knock, time to have the difficult or uncomfortable conversation, or do your due diligence, or do your research. Because I suspect if you knew what this person was up to, you would move in another direction. Now, this doesn't have to be love and romance. This could be career and finance in terms of your job. But you would certainly seek out another partnership if you knew what this person was up to. You would leave 6 cups on the shelf, this person from your past in the past, and you would move towards the Ace of Cups, something new. And therefore, you would get out of or dump this current situation. Because once the truth is revealed to you, you would move in a new direction. Knight of Wands, tell me more about this individual and what is being hidden from Gemini. This would be like your example currently at work. If you knew that your boss was looking to replace you, downsize the company, outsource your job, you would from now start looking for another job. But that's something they're concealing from you because they don't want you to leave. You know what I mean? Before they're ready for you to leave. It could be a romantic partner. This could be someone concealing something from you because they knew that if you knew the truth, you would leave, or you would leave before they're ready to leave. And you can't leave before they're ready to leave. Knight of Wands. Clarify the Knight of Wands. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Knight of Wands is clarified by Six of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, and Judgment. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Cups shows themselves again. Doesn't have to be a feminine energy, and it doesn't have to be a water sign. But I do think it's someone that you either respect or have admiration or possibly even love for. This person leaves you confused. They give you just enough data or information that they believe you need to know at this time. To this person, you are on a need-to-know basis. And that's purposely being done to keep you confused. So you don't make the judgment call and see what they're up to, or prematurely leave, or move in another direction. Clarify the moon. What is being hidden here? Excuse me. Clarify the moon. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Ten of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Six of Swords. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Swords. Gemini, you have someone here in your life who is preparing to move in another direction, and they're keeping that from you. It, like I said, it could be your job. It could be your romantic partner. It could be your roommate. There's someone here that you share space with, or you share a connection with, or responsibilities with, possibly a homestead with. There's someone here in your life who is planning to move in another direction. And your future self is trying to wake you up to this. And you're just kind of like, la, 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 la. I don't want to see anything. I'm doing my own thing here. I'm independent. I'm strong. I can handle anything. I don't want to know that the job is looking to downsize my job or outsource it, or, you know, something like that. I don't want to know that my romantic partner is looking to leave me for someone else, leave me to be single. I don't want to know that the roommate is about to tell me they're not renewing the lease and I have to scramble and find someone else to live with me. Someone else is building up an exit and you are not aware of it. And if you are a business owner, like I am, this could be something is possibly changing with like a vendor you have or a provider, and you kind of know, but again, you don't want to ask the right questions, because then you would have to act. Then you have to find a new vendor, you know what I mean? Or a new provider or someone new to work with. This is the truth. Four of Cups. Clarify the Four of Cups. Now we're going to see who is this person. We're going to find out a little bit more about them, because if you had the conversation with this person, you would get the truth. It might be uncomfortable, but you would get the truth. Four of Cups. I think you're just reluctant to ask the right questions. Four of Cups. What is that Four of Cups? One more shuffle. Thank you. The Four of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the Hermit. This is the person who's keeping something from you. Page of Swords. This is the person you need to have a conversation with. Nine of Pentacles. Tell me why the Nine of Pentacles is here. You know what this is giving me the feeling of? This is giving me the feeling of a married couple, King to the Queen of Cups, where one of them is looking to leave, and they're like hoarding money or resource, like they're setting up their new life, like they're buying another house or getting an apartment, and the one partner knows, but they don't want to ask the right questions because they don't want to know. Because if they knew, then they have to act, and they're not ready to act. This is like ignorance is bliss, but your future self is telling you ignorance is not bliss. This is like you go to work every day and you know everything is changing. The cubicles are getting emptier and emptier. There's rumors and talks the company is closing, or they're downsizing, or maybe employing some kind of new technology that could phase out your job. You're like, I don't want to know. I don't want to ask any questions. You're like, whatever happens, happens. I'm good. You're not good. Your future self is trying to give you this warning. It's time for you to get curious, have a conversation, do some dirt digging. Tell me about that Nine of Pentacles. One more shuffle here. Thank you. Six of Cups. Five of Pentacles. And the High Priestess. Your intuition has been trying to tell you this for a long time. The situation of Remnant connection is coming to an end because this person is keeping something from you. And it looks like what they're keeping from you is their departure or exit from your life. And again, it could be a vendor, you know. And I look at it, and I've been thinking about it lately too. My sole source of income are my videos on YouTube. Should I start having a secondary or a third outlet to reach my audience, to reach the collective? You know, should I maybe explore TikTok, open up an account on Rumble, you know, just to start building up a base there? Because for all I know, YouTube is changing up their terms of service for 2027. You know what I mean? And they're not going to tell us as content creators from now. They tell you the day they change it, and like, if you don't like it, you could leave. You know, so there's something like that here at play, where someone that you're engaging with is changing something up, actively planning to change something up. But we're just, and I say we because I'm a Gemini sun, we're just not asking the right questions, or we don't want to have the uncomfortable conversation, because once we have that truth and clarity, we're like, shit, now I got to do something about it. And this is not a moment where ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. Tell me more about this person. What does Gemini need to know about this person? One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Seven of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Three of Cups. Bottom of the deck, Ten of Wands. This person is holding back from telling you about this new plan or opportunity or path here. Tell me more about this. One more shuffle here. Thank you. You have the Ace of Cups. That is the truth. The Knight of Pentacles. There's that plan. And the Four of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, Ten of Cups. This entity, because again, I don't know if it's a corporation or company or an actual person. Yeah, they're creating a plan to move on. They're holding on just for now in that Four of Pentacles. Because in the After Tower deck, the Four of Pentacles is met with the Grim Reaper here. Scorpionic energy of the Death card. So they're holding on to you at work for now, knowing they will eventually replace you, downsize your job, possibly eliminate your position, maybe even outsource it to another country. I actually know a friend, I think she's a Libra, and her job gave her 30-day notice. They were outsourcing her job to another country. And she was like, oh my God, like, are you serious? And not only that, to add insult to injury, they made her train her replacement, who literally lives like 9 countries away. 9 countries to the east away from her. And she was like, holy shit. So there could be something like that happening. But again, they're not going to tell you until last minute. This person is creating a plan. And they're holding on for now, possibly even doing bare minimum in that Four of Pentacles. There's not someone who's investing a lot in you. So if you're going to work every day and the place is starting to look shabby and dingy, and those, you know, Friday lunches are now gone, yeah, this employer is putting bare minimum effort, because their resources are getting put into revamping the company, remodeling its structure, or, you know what I mean, restructuring it. Their attention is elsewhere. If this is a partnership and your partner's not doing anything, you live with them in that Four of Wands, they're not cleaning the house, they're not buying anything new, they're suddenly not talking about future plans, and you have a tumultuous relationship, I would say it's possible this person is moving on. Now, I will tell you the good note, the good news here. The good news is, whoever's exiting, whatever this is, you end up better off for it. You do. You have the Star, the Nine of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. You end up more financially comfortable, more financially stable, moving towards your wish fulfillment, very content. Like, you end up rebuilding your wealth or rebuilding your stability. But I think this will be a lot easier if you knew about it ahead of time, because then you can plan, then you can be strategic. I think that's what your future self is telling you. You're going to end up okay either way. But how do you want to get there? On your terms or on this person's terms? Let's get you some advice. Time to get curious. Do a little dirt digging. If this message is resonating for you. You know what? I want to clarify the Wheel of Fortune to the Hierophant. I feel like that's important that we do that. Because you have a cycle here. You can stay stuck, stubborn. I'm not going to have the conversation. I'm just going to let things roll on until they crash and burn or whatever. Like, I'll just see how it happens. Or you can change this. That's what I'm feeling like. The time you watch this reading, you can start to do something differently. Tell me about the Wheel of Fortune. Or you could just start creating your own plan. Like looking for another job. For myself, it would be like looking for other providers. Maybe start saving your own nest egg. If you know that your person is contemplating separation, start looking for another roommate or a place to live. If this is like a housing situation, maybe just start looking. Get curious enough to just start looking. At least then you're at least one step ahead. You know what I mean? Of where you are now, which is right now, you're not doing anything. Four of Swords, Four of Cups. Tell me about the Wheel of Fortune. One more shuffle. Thank you. The Wheel of Fortune is clarified by the Six of Swords. Moving forward, Two of Swords, and the Moon. Bottom of the deck, Nine of Pentacles. Moving forward despite not knowing all of the facts. Because this reading is a fact in itself. This reading is the truth. So again, just start, like I said, one step. Even though you don't know exactly 100% of what this is, I think you do know. You're more intuitive than people give you credit for. Most people don't think Geminis are intuitive. And I say when there's two of you inside one body, you're guaranteed to be intuitive. Sorry, Gemini. Let's clarify the Hierophant card. One has to know what the other is doing. Clarify the Hierophant. One more shuffle here. Thank you. The Hierophant is clarified by the King of Swords, the Three of Cups, and the Sun. Bottom of the deck is that Four of Wands. Yeah. So you have an opportunity at the time of this reading to do something differently. Get curious. You are the King of Swords, whether you're masculine or feminine. Wield that Ace of Swords. Get the truth. Get the breakthrough moment. Create a plan where you have your own victory and your own success. If this ends up crashing and burning, you set yourself up for the future. If it doesn't, you didn't do anything but shore up your finances. You know what I mean? Or maybe find a better place to live. But this is happening. I would create a path or a plan here. Anything else Gemini needs to know about this? Anything else about this person or what they're planning? One more shuffle. Thank you. The High Priestess, the Ace of Swords, and the Two of Wands. Yeah, this, again, with that Nine of Pentacles, this individual is keeping it to themselves. They're trying to obscure the truth here about this decision here that they're making or that they have made. Anything else Gemini needs to know about this person? One more shuffle here. Thank you. You have the Lovers, you have the Devil, and you have the Two of Swords. Well, the Two of Swords is their mind is made up. Bottom of that King of Pentacles. This person is going to tell you when they're ready to tell you. When they're ready to detach, let you go, fire you, downsize, move out, file for divorce, whatever this is. They're going to tell you when they're ready. And that's why it's so important that you start getting curious, stop ignoring the red flags, even if you don't want to have the difficult conversation. At the very least, open up your eyes to what is happening around you and start planning accordingly. Five of Pentacles, before you're left out in the cold. You can't say your future self didn't warn you. Can we get 3 cards of advice here for the Gemini collective? Yeah, this person's keeping it under wraps until they're ready to disengage. In the After Tarot deck, the Devil card is detached or unattached. So when they're ready to make their move, that's when they make the choice to tell you. Hanging over the heads of the Lovers is the Ace of Swords, which is what they're concealing. 3 cards of advice here for Gemini. 3 cards of advice here for Gemini. One more shuffle here. Thank you. King of Wands, 6 of Pentacles, and Justice. Bottom of the deck, 3 of Pentacles. I would get to work with creating a path or a plan. You don't have to exit your job right now, but you can start pouring some Pentacle energy or resources into finding a new job. You don't have to change your business model. I don't have to leave YouTube today, but I could step into the role of the King of Wands and start looking for some new resources, some new outlets to create wealth or prosperity. If this is a relationship, no one's telling you to file for divorce tomorrow or leave your person, but you could start creating a little financial nest egg for yourself, especially if you're in a type of relationship where you feel this person actually could leave you at any moment because it's, again, some type of upheaval has occurred here, or, again, maybe it's just not a healthy relationship with that Devil card. But your advice here is to get to work. Whether you want to have, there's that Hierophant, I'm telling you, this person's moving on. Or, like I said, leaving, closing the company or outsourcing your job. So it's time for you to move forward, be bold, be brave, start creating a plan, pour some of your resources into this new plan. So the outcome here, it's a smoother transition, it's just and it's fair. The Justice card in tarot also talks about cause and effect. If you don't plan for this, the transition will be a lot more difficult for you. My, I was going to say father-in-law, not my father-in-law, my stepdad has a saying, yeah, failing to plan is planning to fail. And I think that's what could happen here. That's what I have for you, Gemini. That is your message or your warning from your future self. If you like that message, it resonates with you, you want to claim all or part of it, please be sure to click like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hype the video if you're able to do that. And until I read for you again, I'm wishing you light, love, and peace.